Hi folks, welcome to today's process video. Okay, so today's comic sees a return to me doing my own take on The Simpsons. And if you're familiar with my approach to doing Simpsons stuff, it's pretty much the same as my other parodies of pop culture things where like I tend to go kind of weird with it. And in this case, I've obviously based this comic on the classic Stupid Sexy Flanders scene. If you're not familiar with it, look it up on YouTube. Like just type in Stupid Sexy Flanders. You should find a video about that. So moving on from that, let's actually talk about the colors for today's comic. So hold on, I'm just going to I can't see the full comic here. I just want to get a good view of it. Let's get it back here. Here. Oh, there we go. There we go. No, no. I really should do this ahead of time, shouldn't I? Rather than having you watch me do this, showing you how unprepared I am. So, yeah. So, with this comic, because it's based on an established scene that's, pretty familiar to a lot of people, I'm sure, I wanted the colors to pretty well match what we see in that scene. So, the clothing Homer is wearing, like the colors of the background, at least in the first panel, I I didn't color, I didn't take a screenshot of that bit in the episode and then use a color dropper tool. I just had that image open on my phone beside me, and then just by eye I picked out the colors and I gradually adjusted things until things looked fairly similar to the original bit from the episode. And from there, then I just did my thing and I just laid down colors and gradually adjusted and adjusted until things came out how I liked. One thing I knew going in straight away was that the third panel would go for a kind of a very rendered look, as in a painted look. So with this, I used I forget what a specific brush I used, but it's a watercolor style brush, and it was I think it was a like a wash style brush, so it had a very watery feel to it, and it was perfect because it allowed me to blend the colors very easily and thankfully very quickly. Excuse me, on my computer, because unfortunately my ancient laptop can't handle some brushes quite as well as others. Like it can slow things down a lot. So in this case, the fact I was able to instantly do everything without having any kind of a delay was nice. And I didn't really intend on it, but I point like I showed this to a friend, and from his point of view, how he like saw that third panel, to him it looks like the buttocks are actually growing out of Homer's eyebrow, and yeah, it kind of looks like that now. Now that I look at it, I mean, the way I drew it, my intention was that I wanted it to look like Ned Flanders' bum is basically right on Homer's mind, but instead, yeah, it looks like he's formed a very round pair of buttocks on his eyebrow. So okay, I'll go with it. But yeah, I'm quite happy with how that panel turned out. I will admit I'm not all that great when it comes to doing hand painted stuff. Of getting a rendered look across, but fake it till you make it, as they say. Like I just kept at it until it looked right, and yeah, I think it turned out pretty well. As for the rest of the comic, I really wanted to put a focus on the lighting effects, the rendering on the characters. Which is why I say in the second panel, I chose to have the lighting come from behind Homer, to really, to almost give the impression that the thought of Flanders is like illuminating him from behind and is like putting him in shadow. Like it almost makes him look like he's very deep in thought. And I also wanted to bring the reader's like attention to his eyes, so I actually got rid of the shading from the eyes, so they really stand out against the shadow of his face. Then with the last panel, I really wanted to get like a very creepy look across, to make Homer look very pervy in that last panel. So I went with the trusty old light from below. Seriously, that it's almost a cheat code, I find, doing lighting that way, where you have the lighting coming up from beneath the chin, and like you have the light coming up beneath the nose, and it's it's such a cheesy, tropey lighting effect, but it works, and it works so well. I find like it's really good at getting across a very creepy atmosphere. And I mean, if you look back over my comics, you'll see that I use it quite a lot, quite a lot. Um, and yeah, other than that, to be honest with you, I don't have all that much else to say, because really the vast majority of the coloring here was the characters and that third panel, like doing all that rendering. Like the rest of it, the backgrounds were fairly standard. I mean, the background in the first panel, because it's just a lot of snow and a sky, I just went with a lot of shades of blue. And then with the background in the second panel, I just wanted it to have a fairly off kilter kind of look, which is why I went with the green behind Homer. I don't know. There's just something about that works. I find, and you'll see that I even fill like that kind of like black kind of semicircle, or the negative excuse me, the negative space of the semicircle. I changed that from black to just a slightly darker shader, a darker shade of that green. And yeah, it looks quite nice. It gives a very uh, graphic kind of effect, and I like that. So yeah, that's pretty much everything. I will leave it at that. So thank you very much for watching, and I will talk to you at the next video. Take care.